So, Kalkalot Boker Tov, we're going to continue with Daf Tzadikhe Amud Aleph, 95. Okay, so yesterday, if you remember, we said that the concept of putting any type of makeup was the problem of tzviya on Shabbat, and the problem of doing anything in the hair, is a problem of boneh, is a problem of building. So we asked, is it normal to be building? So we answered that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he braided Chava before giving her to Adam HaRishon in order to make her pretty in the eyes of Adam HaRishon. So therefore you do see that there's a concept of beauty by braiding in, and it was written over there by Yiven. He built her. So you see from here that it's a concept of building when you braid. However, though it says in the footnote that the Chachamim argue on this, and therefore it's only Asur Midrabbanan, because it looks like you're building. So for nowadays, a woman is also prohibited to braid her hair on Shabbat because of the Isur D'Rabbanan of that it looks like you're building. We're continuing now from Tanya. So this Tanya is going to be 2, 4, 6 lines down. Okay? Tanya, we learned to the Braita. Rishon Lazar says, Godelet, kochelet, upokeset, le'atzma petura, achaverta chayevet. If she's doing it to herself, she would be patur. If she's doing it to her friends, she would be chayevet. What does that mean? It's not normal for a woman to braid her own hair or to do all these things to herself. So since it's not normal for doing it, if she's doing it for herself, she's tura, she's exempt. If she's doing it for her friend, she would be chayevet. So to Rishon Lazar used to say the name of Rabbi Eliezer. So a woman is not allowed to put, this is like a reddish type of a makeup, right, on herself on Shabbat because she's sovat, she's coloring, and that's what it is. So if women are going to put makeup on Shabbat, that's coloring. If a person's going to come and they're going to milk an animal on Shabbat, or they're going to put the milk in order to congeal in a utensil, right, in order that all the water or the whey is going to come out, and then it congeals and it becomes like the cheese or things like that, right? Or if somebody's going to come and he's going to put them together in order to make, right, a block. So he says, you're going to be chayav if you did any one of these 3 processes, like the size of a kugeda, like a size of a dried fig, okay? Next, hamchabed, if somebody's going to broom the floor of the house. Remember, they used to have dirt floors. Right? Very important to know. They used to have dirt floors. So if you're going to broom the house, or amrabet, so you're putting water on the floor. Remember when there's a lot of dirt on the floor, and until nowadays they do it, by the way. I've spoken once to builders, and I remember we were learning Masechet Shabbat and then the halacha, and this is actually what they do. When there's a lot of dust that's coming up, a lot of smoke or dust that's coming up, what do? They throw water on the floor. But by throwing water on the floor, the dust will not come up. So what happens? If somebody's going to broom a floor, or they're going to throw water on the floor in order that the dust does not come up, or if somebody's going to take the chalot dvash of the kaveret, which is basically from the beehive, he's taking the how do you call them in English? From the beehives, where they have the honey, the honeycombs. By the honeycombs, okay?
Loaves of honey.
How are they called?
Loaves.
Loaves of honey. Okay. So the loaves of honey, right? So it says, Shagag b'Shabbat chayav chatat. If you did it accidentally on Shabbat, any of these things, you're going to be chayav chatat. If you did it purposely on Yom Tov, you get lashes. These are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. Remember that on Yom Tov, right, you get lashes. You don't get death penalty. Okay? On Shabbat, if somebody's mechalel Shabbat, they get skila, they get death penalty. If somebody's mechalel Kippur, they get karet, which is not death penalty from here, it's death penalty from above. If somebody's mechalel Yom Tov, they don't get that either, they only get lashes. So therefore, that's what shows us the stringency. Shabbat, Kippur, and Yom Tov. A lot of people, they have it the other way around. A lot of people think Kippur is the most holiest thing. No. If somebody's mechalel Shabbat, it's worse than being mechalel Kippur. You understand? Very important to know, because a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think, Kippur is the most... No. Shabbat is more important than Kippur. What's the proof? The punishment. Okay? So it says over here, Rav Nachman, Chachamim say, echad ze ve'echad ze, whether you did it on Shabbat or Yom Tov, it's only going to be an Isur D'Rabbanan. right? Now, the reason why is here in the footnote, he's going to explain each one, because remember, when you're going to broom the floor and it was a dirt floor, maybe you're going to come and you're going to straighten out, you're going to level up the floor, which means sometimes you have like a little ditch or sometimes you have a mount. And now when you're brooming it, you're evening out the floor. So on a dirt floor, you have a problem. Obviously nowadays, at Baruch Hashem, we don't have a dirt floor, so you're allowed to broom the floor on Shabbat. So there's no problem whatsoever. However, though, once upon a time, it would be prohibited, right? The same thing is throwing water. You cannot throw water on the floor because, again, the same thing, you're picking up the dust. Nowadays, again, you're not allowed to throw it and then clean it because then you're doing schita. You're not allowed to do sponge on Shabbat. You're not allowed to mop the floor on Shabbat because if not, you're squeezing, right? But other than that, but there's no isur mitzadis, okay? Rav Nachman bar Guria ikla Narda. So Nachman bar Guria, he went and he visited Narda. Ba'u mineh, so they asked the following question. Cholev mishumay mechayev. If I'm going to milk an animal, what's the isur? Why am I not allowed to milk an animal? So Malehu mishum cholev. So because of cholev. Mechabetz mishum mechayev. What are you going to be chayev because of mechabetz? Mechabetz is, again, putting it in order that the milk should congeal and then throwing out all the rest of the milk, the liquid. Right? Amelo mishum chabetz. Megaben mishum mechayev. What are you going to be chayev if you're putting it together to make a cheese? So he says mishum megaben. Amrule, they told him, Rabbach katil kane be'agma hava. He says, what? Your rabbi doesn't understand that, doesn't know how to explain the things. He's just saying it because of that. What's the real reason behind it? So they went and they asked in the Bet HaMidrash. Amrule, they said, cholev is mishum mefarek. It's like dash. Dash is threshing. What are you doing when you're threshing? You're taking up from the chaff the food. The same thing. You have the animal, you have the udder, and when you're going to milk the animal, you're taking the milk out of the udder. What's happening is that you're like you're threshing. It's like you're taking it out. It's mifarek, which is a tolada of dash, which is like a subcategory of dash, but that's the concept. Mechabetz, why are you going to be chayav? Ishum borer, because you're separating the congealed milk from the not congealed milk. So you're taking out the ochbitov solet. Megaben, you're going to be chayav because of boneh, because when you put the cheese together, now you're making it into a block, you're building it. So because of that, you're going to be chayav. That's what he says. Okay? So now, says the Gemara.
But for a woman who feeds the baby, we don't have this avera.
Very good. So if you're feeding the baby, there's no avera. However, though, a woman cannot extract milk and put it in a utensil because that is the avera. When it is going to be that she's feeding directly to the child, so that's like giving food directly to a child, that's permitted. But if you're milking it, if you're milking the woman, right? So what happens is that that's also going to be a sur, and therefore the halacha states what happens if she's suffering, right? She's got an excess amount of milk, right? And she's suffering. Or she needs to extract it in order that she would be able to come and to continue feeding afterwards. So in either case, she is permitted to extract milk, but it has to go to waste. She's not allowed to use that milk. So usually what Rav Eliashiv and others say what you're supposed to do is that in the bottle that she's already extracting the milk, she should put soap. And if she puts soap, immediately when she's extracting, the milk goes into the soap and becomes not edible. And then you're throwing it out, and then there's no problem. And the reason why it's permitted is because of tsa'ar, because of suffering.
The suffering. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. No, it's an important question, obviously, halakha l'maaseh, but that's what they do. Right? It's even permitted, even sometimes. I know that in Israel or other places, they had the machine. So what they used to do is that they used to do not like a mechanical pump, like a real, you understand, like a real pump, with electricity. So many times what they would do is they would put it on a timer on Shabbat. And the second that she would hear the noise, right, she would go and she would just be able to pump out the milk. Okay? But again, inside of a bottle that has soap. Because by doing that, it would be okay. Right? And again, it doesn't matter whether it's because she's doing it because the baby just can't have it for now. Sometimes when the baby has very high jaundice. So that's because of the iron which is in the milk, right? So therefore, and that's why it only comes out after a few days, because the first few days it doesn't come in. So therefore they say that sometimes they have to minimize in feeding. So therefore by doing that, right, the bilirubin will go down and then they're able to actually give it to a blah or whatever it is. So therefore they say also sometimes like that, they would tell them to lower the amount of milk, right, that the woman is giving. So therefore, but she still wants to feed afterwards. So she's allowed to, but again, it would have to go to waste. Or sometimes the baby just can't suck because it was a little bit preborn. It was a newborn a little bit too early. So therefore, they still don't have the strength to suck. So the same thing, she would still take out in order that she wants to do it later on. She's allowed to, but again, it would have to go to waste. Okay? Fine. Next. So he said if somebody's going to broom the floor, they're going to throw water on the floor, or they're going to take out the loaves of honey. So if you did it on Shabbat, you're going to be chayav chatat. Hezid biyom tov loke 40. If you did it purposely on Yom Tov, you're going to get lashes. These are the words of Rabbi Eliezer. Amar Rabbi Eliezer says, Rabbi Eliezer, my time Rabbi Eliezer, what's the reason in Rabbi Eliezer? Ichtib is it's written v'yitzpol ota b'yarot dvash. That they dipped her in yarot dvash. What does that mean? Yechimai inyan yar etzel dvash. What does it have to do with the forest and the honey? Yonatan, the son of Shaul Melech, he didn't hear, right, that his father made everyone swear that they're not going to eat when they're going to fight with the Philistine. So he put his staff into the honey, and then he ate it. And that's why it's called Yarot Dvash. But the question is, what does it have to do with the forest Dvash? You understand? What is Yarot Dvash? Yarat Dvash. Just like if you go to the forest and you pluck something off, whether it's a tree or anything else, you're going to be chayav because of tolesh, right? Which is basically kotzer, you're like reaping. So too, chalot dvash, you're going to take it off on Shabbat, you're going to be chayav because you're like reaping. Okay? Amimar, shara zilcha nemechuza. Amimar permitted to throw water on the floors of mechuza. Amar, why? Tama ma'imur baran. Why did the rabbi say that it's prohibited? Maybe you're going to come and level out the ground. You're going to be a shriya gumot. You're going to level out the ground perfectly. And now there's not going to be holes anymore. Hachalek agumot. Here, since there's no holes because it's all stone floor, so therefore they don't need it. Right? It's either stone or different bricks or anything. So Rava Rava once found that Ravina was suffering on Shabbat because of the hevel, because of the avak, the dust that was coming up. And some people say more kashish Ravashi. Ravashi was mitzayed, right, on from the heaven. So Amalei, he says, did we learn? Bring a dish of water, wash your face in this corner, then wash your hands in another corner, wash your feet in another corner, and then the entire house is already done on its own. Meaning you're not doing it outright. You're not allowed to come and just pour water, right, with a cup or whatever, pouring the water inside the house. But what do? You take the cup, I'm going to wash my hands here in this corner. Go to the other corner, wash my face. The other corner, wash my feet. And I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to wash my hands, feet, and hands and feet and legs on Shabbat, right? So So I'm going to do that, and then the house is done on its own. So Amalei, he told him, Lavadatai. I didn't remember the seter, and that's why I didn't do it. So Tana, we learned in a Braita, Isha chachama menabetzet beta b'Shabbat. A woman that she's a Tamir Chacham, or that she's a wife of a Tamir Chacham, and she heard this from her husband or father, she's going to do this on Shabbat. And by doing that, she's going to do it in a permitted way, and then there's no problem. Remember, many times you could find a permitted way of doing something. It's just knowing how to do it. Sometimes people, because they don't want, so they don't even ask. But then chaval, they did it in a way which was prohibited instead of permitted. Right? It's like accounting. You understand? Sometimes you could do everything that you want in accounting. There's always all the loopholes that you want. You understand? But you have to do it in a permissible way. If you're not going to ask, you're going to do it in a prohibited way, but then you mess yourself up. Because now you did it in a prohibited way, and it's a problem. Sometimes you could have done it in a permitted way, but just ask to know how to do it. So the exact same way, right? Obviously, lavdil elef avdalo, because this is a Torah, which is Torah Chaim, the Torah of the way of our life, but we have to do the same thing. Many times, not because we don't want to know, say, I prefer not to know. No. Ask. Because sometimes there's a way of doing it in a permitted way, and if we don't do it properly, we mess ourselves up for the rest of our lives, and we don't realize it. Okay? So now that we hold like Rabbi Shimon, Shari afilu lechatchila, it's mutar even lechatchila to do so, and there's no problem. Okay, so that means there's no problem because of this. Because basically your kavanah is not to fill up the holes when you're doing this, and therefore it's going to be permitted. Mishnah. Tzadikei Amud Aleph on the bottom. Right? 4 lines from the bottom. Hatolesh me'atzitz nakuv chayav. If you're going to take something out, you're going to detach from an atzitz nakuv, from a flower pot that has a hole in it, so it's getting the nourishment from the ground, you're going to be chayav. Why? Because since it's getting the nourishment from the ground, and this flower pot is connected to the ground, basically, like it's got the hole, so it's nourishing from the ground, so it's taking up all the, how do you call it, all the nourishment from the ground, okay? So says the Gemara, she'eno nakuv, if it's going to come from an atzit she'eno nakuv, patur, it's going to be patur, right? It's going to be exempt. Rabbi Shimon poter bazeh, Rabbi Shimon poter bazeh bazeh. He says you're going to be patur in either case, whether you plucked it from an atzit nakuv or no nakuv. Obviously, if it's a flower pot that is not getting nourishment from the ground, there's no problem. We actually just mentioned, somebody asked me this question just this past Masechet Shabbat, I think it was. You're allowed to move flowers on Shabbat that are on your table. For example, you have like the vase with flowers. You're allowed to move it. It's not muktzeh on Shabbat. There's no problem. If some of the petals are not open, then it's a problem. Because then if you're going to move it very quickly, so then the water will go to some of them more than the others, and then you might cause that they're going to open up more. But if they're already open, right, so then there's no problem of moving them whatsoever on Shabbat. Okay, and even if they're closed, you're allowed to move it, just move it gently. Okay? Fine. Says the Gemara, Rami lei Abai le Rava. Comes Abai and he asks from Rava, and some people say it was Ruchia Barav to Rav. So now we learn to Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon poter bazeh bazeh. Rabbi Shimon, he exempts in both of the cases. Almas, you see from here, Nakuv le Rabbi Shimon, keshe'eno nakuv mashvile. You see from here that when it's got a hole, for Shitat Rabbi Shimon, it's like a tzatzitz she'eno nakuv. It's like that it doesn't have a hole. Or minu, so we have a contradiction. Rabbi Shimon says, En ben nakuv she'eno nakuv. There's no difference whether it's got a hole or it doesn't have a hole. Tzadikei Amud Bet, 95b. Ela lachshi zraim bilvad. Only to come and to permit the zraim, the seeds, for being mikabel tumah, for becoming susceptible for tumah. So Amalei tells him, Lechol mile Rabbi Shimon ketalush mashvile. For everything, we're saying that it's going to be considered talush. V'shanel inyan tumah, but it's different to do the tumah that Torah ribta tahara etzel zraim, because the Torah permitted tahara, right, extra tahara by zraim. Shneimar kol zera zerua asher yizarea, which means, why does it say on any type of a seed which you're going to plant? So it's coming to teach you that the seeds are mekablim echshel letumah only in the way that you normally plant, right? When they're completely detached. But if they're connected to the ground, right, in any form, they're not going to be mekablim echshel letumah. They don't become tameh. So therefore, anything which is connected to the ground doesn't become tameh in this form. So so there was an elder that asked to be zirah, shoresh keneged nekev, right? When you have the shoresh, the roots of a plant, which are by the nekev, by the hole of that tzitz nakuv. Mali amar Rabbi Shimon. What did Rabbi Shimon say about that? Does he agree that it's considered like connected to the ground, and therefore if you detach it, you're going to be chayav? Ishtik v'lo amar lemilide. He kept quiet. He didn't answer. He wasn't sure of the answer, so he kept quiet. So Zim Nechada, Ashkecha Diate V'Kamar, once he found him that he was sitting, and he said, Moder Rabbi Shimon, Shim Nikev B'Chte Tarato, that if he didn't make a hole enough to make it pure, which means that enough that an olive could come out of that place, meaning he made a hole in this flower pot that an olive could go down. So then what's going to happen is, Amr he says, Hashta Shoresh Keneged Neked By Menecha. Now you're going to ask, I asked you, you didn't tell me anything. And he came back to Torah, so that's the question. So now he's going to explain. Abai says, this is what he said. If Rabbi Shimon is going to admit that if you made a hole below the bottom of the kli, which is not going to be machsika revit anymore. Okay, that means you have the utensil and you did it at the bottom, that it cannot hold 86 cc anymore. Let me just check if I have a picture. Yeah, here. If you made the hole, kimotzi zait, and this is lemata mervit. This is where you could hold a revit of liquid, and this is where you have the hole here. Whether the hole is here or the hole is here. Okay? Now, another thing is, this was mechabed. This is mirabet, storing the water. This is brooming the floor. And then this is mechabetz, where we said it's like you're separating because you put the cheese in here and all the liquid comes down. So you're separating with a utensil. Okay? Fine. Next. Amar Rava. Rava says, Chamesh midot b'kli cheres. There's going to be 5 different measurements to do with an earthenware utensil. Nikev kimotzi mashke. If you have a little tiny hole, that's only enough that liquids come out. Obviously, when you have a cup, the first little tiny hole, liquids comes out. If it's bigger, then other things can come out. Obviously, there's measurements. So the first one is that if a liquid can come out, so then, right, it's not going to be mekabel tumat gistra, which means because, right, even if it has a small little tiny hole, you're not going to be mitameh in such a form. It says here, a utensil which is whole, right? Even if it's only going to be for liquids, it does not become pure if it has a hole and liquid is coming out. Right? Why? Because you still don't throw it out in the garbage and you still use it. And you put it underneath a gistra. A gistra is like a shever kli, like a broken utensil, right? In order to get all the drops and everything. Okay? So since you would still put it underneath a completely broken utensil, that's why it's going to be here it is. This is the gistra. In a sense, so you would still put it underneath here, underneath another utensil. Okay? Then it says, second halacha, you're still allowed to purify the waters of the chatat waters. Remember, the chatat waters were the paraduma, the red heifer, right? That you would come and you would, how do you call it? You would use it to be mitaher tameh metim. Right, you would put the waters of the paraduma, you would mix it in order to the ashes in the water, in order to purify people that were tameh for a deceased person. Okay. Number 2, nikev b'kones mashke. What happens now if the hole is a little bit bigger? A liquid could come in. That means, let me see if there's enough here. No, I don't have it here. Basically, like this: when you have a hole, it depends on the size of the hole. If you have here a cup and you have a little tiny hole, liquid will come out. But if you take this cup and you submerge it in water, sometimes the liquid will not be able to come in because the hole is too small. However, though, if the hole is a little bit bigger, the liquid will come in. Okay, so it says tahor mi lekadesh bo mechatat, right? It's batel mitorah kli, so it's going to be tahor mi lekadesh bo mechatat. V'adayin kli u'leachshiv zreim, but it's still a utensil to be machshiv the zreim, to make it tameh. Number 3, nikev keshoresh katan. If you have it big enough that a small shoresh katan will come out, a small little tiny root will come out of it. Tahor mi la'achshiv zreim. It's not going to be mitameh zreim. Adayin kli u'lekabeh b'zdim, but you could still put olives or other things inside of it. Nikev kemotzi zetim. If you have it big enough that the olives will fall out, tahor mi lekabeh b'zetim. It's going to be tahor from receiving zetim. Adayin kli u'lekabeh rimonim, but it's still going to be able to fit pomegranates inside. Number 5, nikev kemotzi rimonim. If you have enough for the rimonim, that means it's such a big hole that a pomegranate could come out. Tahor mi klum. It's completely tahor. There's nothing there anymore. Why? Because it's not a utensil. Okay? V'imukaf tzamid patil. But if it's going to be covered on the top, I'm going to try to check the picture. Here it is. Mukaf tzamid patil is like this. And this is mukaf, but it doesn't have the tzamid patil. So it's like, it's got like a pkak. It's got like, it's covered. I don't know how you say it in English exactly, but it's
a sealed cover.
Sealed cover, right? That's what it is. So it's sealed cover. So it says over here, if it's going to have a sealed cover, right? And then it's going to be an oil amet. So therefore it doesn't go through. Ad sheyipachet rubo, until the majority of the utensil is going to be broken. Okay? So then it says, right? Ad sheyipachet rubo. Amar Ravasi says, Shamati kli cheres shiuro kemotzi rimon. So I heard that a kli cheres, the shiur is going to be like motzi rimon. They're taking out a pomegranate. So Amar Rava comes and he says, Shema lo shamata la b'makiv tzami patil. Maybe you didn't hear it only when it's going to be makiv tzami patil. So v'har Rava udamar makiv tzami patil shipachet rubo. Until the majority of it is going to be actually, it's going to be yipachet rubo. So says the Gemara, la kashi, that's not a question. Ha b'rav ha bezutre. Rava is talking about a kli cheres, which is a mukaf tzami patil, right? When it's going to be, it's talking about a very big utensil. And therefore we said that it had to be like a pomegranate. However, though, when it says there, it's about a small utensil. That if it's a pomegranate in a small utensil, there's no utensil anymore. That means it depends on the size of utensil. If it's a huge utensil, until the pomegranate is still okay. But if it's a small utensil, if it's so big that it's called like the size of a pomegranate, that's it. It's kaddish. There's nothing what to do anymore. You understand? It's just too much. You want to finish until the end of the perek? Yeah, a few more lines?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So Amar Ravasi comes and he says, Shonin, we learned, Kli cheres shiuro b'kones mashke, that an earthenware utensil, the shiur is going to be when a liquid is going to come inside. Velo amru kemotzi mashke, but not when it comes outside. Okay, because it's a much smaller size. Ela linyan gistra bilvad, only to do the gistra. My time, what's the reasoning? Amar more zutra, Reder of Nachman. If you shen omrim have gistra legistra, because you would never say, bring a broken utensil for a broken utensil. Meaning, if I already have a broken utensil, I'm not going to bring another broken utensil to fix that. In a sense, so I'm going to only put it if it's not that broken. So Amar Ula says, there was two different Amoraim that they had a machloket in the West, and Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yossi ben Rabbi Abi and Rabbi Yosef ben Zavda. One of them said it's like taking out a pomegranate, and one of them says, Keshoresh katan. The simanech, what is the siman? Echad amarbe ve'echad amamit. Whether what you're doing a lot or a little bit, it's going to be the same thing. Which means whether it's going to be a rimon or a smaller size, la v'shoresh katan. So Amar of Chanana bar Kana mishmed Rabbi Eliezer. It says of Chanana bar Kana name Rabbi Eliezer. It's like the olives are coming out. It's like any type of utensil which is made out of excrement or out of stone or out of dirt. It's never going to be mekabel tuma, right? Even if you designated it to have for pomegranates. But if it's going to be have a cover, right? The cover, sealed cover, until the majority is going to be destroyed. With that, we finish the chapter of.
Thank you.